Zidane Danny, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Electro Ninja's Lab. Well, we are nearing the end of the school year, so why not talk about a fictional school, UA? Now, obviously, we all know about UA and how it's got a lot of teachers and a lot of students and stuff. But the question that people might be having is how many teachers are there? In the anime and the manga, we have seen about, give or take, 10 ish teachers that have actually been given names and they've been talked about. But we know there's more. Specifically, we know that there are a total of 33 teachers, which we will explain in a bit, on top of the fact that we have also seen two extra teachers that have never gotten any screen time, which you can actually see in this picture, the one behind Cementos, as well as one that is just off screen next to Present Mike. Now, these two characters were seen only in one episode and have never been seen again, but we should at least be considering them in what we are about to be talking about, and that is the fact that there are many teachers in UA that have yet to be talked about. Like I said, there are a total of 33 classes in, well, I guess kind of classes in UA, specifically because of the fact that there are, first off, 11 classes in each year, with all of the main departments having 3 classes per year, except for Hero Course having 2. These, of course, being Class A and B for the Hero Course, Class C, D, and E for General Studies, F, G, and H for Support, and I, J, and K for the Department of Management. Now, obviously, we haven't seen very many teachers, like I said. About approximately maybe 10, and if we're going to count those other two, we're going to say that that is about 12. Now, we'll just start off with the simple things, the ones we know. And while I know that there are that everyone in the school gets a combination of the teachers because of the fact that they still go between classes, and have multiple teachers for different subjects, their homeroom teacher is an important aspect to that. The Hero Course, like I said, has 2 classes, A and B, which we happen to know who their teachers are. They are the only 2 classes, though, that we actually know who their teachers are. These being, for Class A, Eraserhead being the main homeroom teacher, and All Might being the supporting homeroom teacher, primarily because of the fact that he mostly has to spend a lot more time with them than as basically a way for him to train to actually become a full-time teacher and eventually get his own class. While we aren't necessarily certain when he's going to get his own class, it's at least implied that as long as everyone survives, that he will eventually get his own class to teach, which honestly will be an interesting thing to see. Maybe he'll be getting, I don't know, um, a third class, meaning that that instead of it being um, just A and B being the hero course, they'll actually be able to have 3 hero courses. But honestly, that still seems a bit far fetched. We also know that Vlad King is Class B's homeroom teacher, and that is pretty much it. Everyone else, we do not know who they teach. While we can obviously take a few guesses, it's still pretty challenging. Of the teachers that we know, though, there are 2 teachers that have actually gotten a bit more information. These being Power Loader and Snipe. Power Loader, we know, is one of the 9 teachers that, and probably the lead teacher for the support crew. And I am actually willing to take a guess and say that the teacher that is behind Cementos in this picture is also a support course teacher, just based on his outfit of what we see. I don't know what we can say about the FAR teacher, but that is still a decent guess. If I was a if I were to take a strong guess, I would probably put Power Loader as being class um, 1, I want to say F, maybe, being their teacher. Mostly because of the fact that he is a rather important teacher, and he's often working with Hatsume. Him being any of the other teachers doesn't make as much sense. Um, so him being Hatsume's homeroom teacher actually makes the most amount of sense. I'm actually thinking that the other teacher may actually be the third year teacher, mostly because of the fact that um, it would make some connection. It would make some sense to eventually see him show up, but and it would actually give more reason for him to be there. In fact, I would actually take a wild guess and say that a good majority of the teachers that were actually able to show up are um, third year teachers, mostly due to the fact that they are all available to help out with the fight. Because, at least if they are connected to Hero Course or Support Course, as many of their students are actually off doing internships, such as the Big Three and stuff like that. Lots of other important things like that. Um, the only teacher that we actually know for sure is actually a third year teacher, being Snipe, who has specifically mentioned that he was a third year teacher when talking to Eraserhead. He is the only teacher that has ever specifically stated which year he is, but he does actually mention it. If I was to take a guess, I would say most likely Class A. However, it is important to note that um, Nejire and Amajiki do not mention him as being their teacher, so the exact details are a bit iffy. Um, as for the remaining teachers, Present Mike, Cementos, Midnight, Ectoplasm, and 13, I am actually able to pretty easily pinpoint at least 3 of them. Ectoplasm is kind of an easy one. While he is, of course, a hero, he could actually be seen as. I could actually see him being a business teacher. Primarily because of the fact that, as a business teacher, that would give him the ability to, or the management teacher. It would actually make sense for him to be a management teacher just due to the fact that that he is a mathematics teacher. It specifically mentions that he does teach math in both the manga and the anime, and it's pretty likely that someone who is well versed in math would be a teacher that specifically trains the business class. The exact details are kind of hard to say, but that's my best guess. Present Mike, I am, as well as Cementos, would both be teachers for general studies, with possibly present Mike actually being a management teacher. The main reason I say this is because of the fact that Mike is an English teacher, and Cementos is. I want to make sure I'm saying this. He is the modern literature teacher. Both of these teachers are kind of things that you would expect from general education, especially over in Japan. But it's also an interesting thing to think about that Mike could be a management teacher just because of the fact that he is teaching English. English is a very important aspect of being in management in Japan. It's one of the most common languages that you need to know if you're going to be going into a field with managing or business or really a lot of things. So, him being the management teacher actually makes a lot of sense. I would actually put him in class 1. So, probably 1J maybe. The exact details I'm not sure. I would actually take a wild guess and say maybe K, because then he and Eraserhead are as far apart as they could possibly be, and that's what Eraserhead would want. So, uh, I'm just saying. Uh, because I'm pretty sure that the way that they actually do it is that they have, in each of the 4 towers is 1 year, and then it goes A to K, on each floor, with the probably the first floor actually being the teacher's area or something. I don't know. Or the top floor maybe is a storage area. I don't know. There's 12 floors that are for each of those glass towers, so it's really hard to say for sure. Don't ask me how I know that. And like I said, Cementos could very easily be a general education. And finally, we have Midnight and 13. Honestly, I'm actually willing to say that these two could very likely be the second year hero course teachers. Um, Mostly because of the fact that these two are show up pretty common, and while 13 is could possibly be a decent teacher for the other courses, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for him to actually be a much more than a hero teacher. Just based off of his power set. And with Midnight, again, even though she is a modern hero art history teacher, apparently, um, just knowing that makes me think that she would be second year um, heroes. But on top of that, there is actually another reason that I would say that she could most likely be second year art teacher. And that is because of what is currently going on in the manga, or what has happened in the manga for Vigilantes. In the manga for Vigilantes, currently, for me, Aizawa has not yet accepted working at UA, while Midnight has, or at least is considering it. I'm not exactly certain on the full details, but she is going to be going into that field very soon. Giving them a year divide would actually make a lot of sense for them. Just based off what we currently know. And she and 13 are decent friends, so seeing them be teachers in the same year does make some sense and definitely could work out. Now, the remaining people at UA. Currently, like I said, there's still one teacher that we actually know, that being the one that was just off screen for the picture. um, as well as four other UA staff members. Hound Dog being the guidance counselor, so he's definitely out of being a teacher. Recovery Girl being the nurse, she is definitely out. Principal Nezu, that's complicated. Knowing my high school, I would not put it past Nezu to at least have some class. Like, I would not put it past him to be in charge of a management class. I'm not kidding. Um, just knowing the fact that oftentimes when I was in high school, my like all of my principals would occasionally be substitute teachers. I would not put it past them to past Horikoshi to actually make him be one of the management teachers. Um, I'm just saying. As for Lunch Rush, there is a reason why I wanted to bring him up. We all know that Lunch Rush is the chef of the school, and he creates all of the food for the entire for the entire school. However, I wouldn't actually put it past him to have him be a general education teacher, primarily because of the fact that um, cooking is a general study, especially in Japan. Home ec is pretty commonly taught in actual schools in Japan. So I wouldn't put it past them to actually have um, for general education around lunchtime they actually put a lot of the students into actually making the food for the rest of the school. Primarily because of the fact that Lunch Rush, if he's doing it all by himself, that's insane to think about. But especially now that he's um, teaching, especially now that he's doing the food for all of the all three meals for every single student, it's a hard thing to see him doing all of this by himself. So I wouldn't put it past him to actually be teaching a general education homeroom, as well as quite possibly taking some of the general education classes um, students, and basically they take on the role of actually being um, actual cooks for a little while. I would actually say that most likely he takes on a good amount of the third years, especially for actually cooking the meals, with second year and first year students actually being in training at different times, like earlier in the day or later in the day. Um, it would at least make things a lot easier on him, but there's a lot to it, and being certain obviously takes a lot of time. Like I said, I don't know who the last teacher could be. What, based off his outfit, I couldn't say. While I would like to say maybe he's a hero teacher, based off what I've said already, you know that there's only one position maybe available. So I and that would be Class B's hero course. The exact details are hard to come by, but like I said, that's not many of the teachers. There are approximate, if what I said is true, that means that there are a total of 12, no, wait, 14 teachers if we include Nezu and Lunch Rush. Um, Obviously, meaning that there are a total of 2 teachers, or 12 teachers if we don't include them. Uh, so, all of these details lead us to think, well, who exactly could they be? And honestly, we'll need to wait and see exactly what's going to be happening in the future. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if before long we find out that we have a lot more teachers and stuff than we actually thought. Apparently, we're going to be meeting some more students before long in the manga, including a 2A student. So maybe that also means that we'll be getting to learn more about the other teachers. But for now, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you think we've met some of these other teachers and we just aren't aware? Or do you think maybe I'm reading too much into this and I'm crazy? Of course, if you do have your own theories, make sure to leave them down in the comments, because if you do leave a theory, whether it be about Miraculous or My Hero Academia, and you put the hashtag theory review, then I will make it into its own video. Of course, like I said, leave your own thoughts about anything else that I talked about in this video. Um, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and ring that notification bell. And of course, if you want to support the channel even more, then definitely head down to the description and check out the links down there, which include ways that you can support us financially, or just check out our social medias. It really does help a lot. But anyways, guys, I have been Electro Ninja. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. But on!